It's episode 10 of the Improv London podcast with this week's guest, Fran Bushe.
This ain't gonna be easy.
Somebody's moving around.
Welcome to episode 10. I'm your host, Stuart Moses, and I hope that everybody's listened to every episode from the beginning of this podcast. But if you haven't, particularly if you haven't listened to episode 4 featuring Mark Tyndall, then the first couple of minutes of this conversation isn't going to make a lot of sense. So I would urge you to listen to that episode because it's very entertaining, but also it'll give you a little bit of context to what Fran and I were talking about. As is traditional for this podcast, I had a great time talking to Fran, and we cover all sorts of things, including her audition for a John Lewis advert and how that changed her life. We discuss the year of Fran in which we're all living, and we also discuss Fran's 2-minute rule. So lots and lots to enjoy.
I learned to improvise.
Journeyman, after all.
I'm really hoping that the Journeyman name will catch on. I suspect it's going to be one of those things where I'm just talking about it, and then like about 10 people. Well, Mark will know what I'm talking about.
He will.
I love
Journeyman. They call me the Journeyman. From hills and valleys, they know that I am the Journeyman. Also known as Mark. I think it's pretty foolproof.
I think that's brilliant. I think that he's going to be very glad that he's now got a. Because that sounds like the voiceover at the beginning of his TV series, where we sort of get up to speed with what the Mark Journey.
Last week on Journeyman. That's the name of his biography for sure. And you could make that into a motion picture, no worries.
Well, I'm sure Journeyman Mark is going to enjoy
Journey Mark Man.
Well, welcome, Fran. Thank you for joining me.
You're very welcome, Stuart.
Should we give the listeners a bit of a description of where we are?
We're directly next to some kind of historical ruin. In the forecourt of a Pret-a-Manger, next to a Bill's, but I guess the most important thing is that we are doing this interview al fresco.
We certainly are.
Stuart is now putting on a sweatshirt. It's not t-shirt weather, so he's wrapping up. I'm holding on to a cup of tea to warm my cockles.
Yeah.
So I definitely have
Some
cockles that are cold right now.
Yes, it turns out that Sunday morning in London, turns out it's quite noisy.
It's not so much, it's the Christmas nature of the music.
Well, yes.
It's being played in the London establishments.
And the building, there's lots of building work going on.
Yeah, and we're under a helicopter route, I think. I think we are literally beneath the helicopter capital of London. And I think it gives it a bit of a surround sound. This is London. There we go. Can you hear that now?
I'll add effects on in post.
Please.
Just so it's
sound of gunfire and jingling bells.
Yeah, you know.
This is how dramatic it is. This is the drama.
This is London at its most exciting.
That is the sound of a helicopter going directly above us. And that was a single drop of rain.
Rain. I had not thought. We finally found somewhere that is relatively quiet. Not that quiet, but isn't actually undercover, so if it rains.
We are living on the edge of the elements.
Well,
would the other people you interviewed have put up with this?
No. Well, I don't know. No, they might have. I didn't ask them. That makes me feel terrible.
Would you agree to be interviewed in the open air?
Admittedly, when I pitched this to you, I didn't say that was going to be part of the deal, did I?
I'm loving it at the moment.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how we feel an hour in, shall we? Please let me go. It's so cold.
I like improv. It's all right. It's nice.
But maybe I like doing it indoors where it's warm and when we're getting rained on.
But if you'd asked me, would I choose to do improv or this interview, and I could only do one,
Well, I'm not asking.
If I knew it would lead to this, I would never have gone into improv if I knew.
Well, I mean,
No, it is lovely. I've got a cup of tea. I'm fine. Just over dramatic. But you do look very cold.
No, I'm fine. I'm genuinely fine.
Good. Stop crying then. Stop crying.
No, I'm very grateful that you've given up your Sunday morning to come and sit outside. I mean, obviously we're not going to say what time of year it is because that will date this postcard, but...
This postcard? What, we're in the Victorian times now.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we all used to sit round and listen to the postcard? Oh, how many downloads has your postcard got now?
I'm not counting.
Okay.
I am counting.
It's like crack.
It is. And the Journeyman Mark...
Gone up by one.
Oh, yeah. The Journeyman Mark Tyndall episode in particular was brilliant fun yesterday because I would sit there looking at the SoundCloud page for a bit and then I'd press refresh and it would have gone up.
Yay.
And it's like, yay!
Was it just you looking at it though?
No,
Because I do that with YouTube. I look at it and I'm like, it's gone up by what? It was me.
Yeah, no, I checked that. I did check that. That's how obsessed I am with this. I did check that, and it doesn't count because I'm logged in.
Right.
It doesn't count that as going
That's
up.
lucky.
Well, yes. I think it makes it more
Real?
real. That's what it's all about.
Truthful.
It's more truthful. Well, I don't know because obviously I don't know if everybody that's listened to it has listened all the way through.
Everyone, most definitely.
It's a long podcast.
No, if you're in it, you're there for the long haul.
I hope so.
I listened to Mark Tyndall's one as I was falling asleep.
Yeah.
So, Mark Tyndall, you sent me to sleep the other evening through your interesting facts.
Well, I know, and also, I genuinely, if people listen to my podcast and it helps them go to sleep, I genuinely feel that we have succeeded.
Yeah.
Because I listen to podcasts I enjoy and that I'm really interested in, but they just help me also sleep.
Yeah.
So,
just like the sound of people's voices
Exactly.
as I drift off.
It just makes me feel
I
so
like
much.
to think
I'm not
Stuart
so
and
alone.
Mark are in the room with me. That's strange.
No, I think it's brilliant because Mark isn't always available to come round and talk to you as you go
Switch
to sleep.
off the lights, Stuart and Mark. Come on.
But sometimes you can just listen to them and it's
Someone
like they're
get
there
me-
in the room with you.
Get me a chamomile. That's it.
And I've genuinely enjoyed listening back to these conversations, even though I'm in them and I've already heard them once.
Oh, no, that's the sound of my own voice.
No, not so much
So
that.
soothing.
Well, I don't listen to myself talking when I go to sleep. That would be all right, I suppose. Hi, Stuart.
That's
You're
a bit,
feeling very sleepy.
psychological, isn't it? Like this conversation with yourself.
Well, yes, but as long as I was saying nice things, I think that would be all right. When I first started performing improv, the first show I ever did, I was really... on the surface, I didn't feel that I was nervous, but I obviously was nervous because I had a really bad headache, and I was at work, and I thought, well, I can't go home. I've just got to stick it out. So I put on guided meditations on YouTube for migraine relief. And it turns out having someone comforting in your ear going, you're doing really well, things are getting better all the time, at work is a really nice thing. I mean, the fact that it's at odds with what other people in the office are actually saying is awkward, but, it's still,
Ah. See, I've tried to do those on the train.
Yeah.
But ever since I was doing one day, and a pupil that I teach saw me doing it.
Oh, right.
And then when I got to school, was like, "Oh, hey Fran, were you sleeping with your eyes open on the train?" Do I tell them that I was doing a meditation CD? I'm very cynical. I find it very hard to meditate and all that kind of, I find it very difficult.
Is that because your mind is so busy and you have so many ideas?
Obviously. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's because I'm just such a well of creativity.
So creative.
It's a bit like, Niagara Falls, and they can control, the water.
It's like.
My brain is like that. It's really hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
As the water goes over the border between America and Canada.
Yeah, well, between the unconscious and the conscious.
Oh man, cerebral. This is what you get on a Sunday morning.
Well, yes, I know. Normally, I'm just giving the benefit of my cerebralness to myself, but today, you are...
I mean, really, I think you're wasted on improv.
Do you think so?
Podcasts.
What should I be doing?
Some kind of meditation with Stuart doesn't really alliterate.
No. Meditation with Moses, however.
All right. So, yeah. I mean, you're going to get all kinds of listeners to that.
Yes.
You need to be able to back that up.
Yes. Well, I think
I am the Moses.
Well, no, I think maybe meditations from the perspective of someone from the Old Testament.
Yeah. How did you part those seas? Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I rested my mind.
You are the ocean.
More. I'm on board.
Excellent.
I can't even feel the cold anymore. I feel so relaxed.
You feel so warm.
Yes.
There is no rain.
The power of your mind.
You relax and sleep. That's for all the people that are listening.
Okay, yes. So this is the point they got to.
Sleep now.
If anyone's listening to this to help them sleep like I do,
Yes.
they haven't learned anything about improv, but they have been soothed.
Yes.
And
in this troublesome world, is soothing people not enough? How much do you want from my podcast?
more.
We
No, not
want
really.
more.
This is plenty.
This is plenty.
Yeah.
Enough.
Okay, guys, thank you for having me. I'm gonna go now because my work is done.
Your work is done. 10 minutes soothing.
That's all you need.
Let's talk about you. Maybe if we talk about you, you might stay.
I wasn't trying to just get everything back around to me.
It's all about you. This time it really is all about you rather than all the other times when you think it is.
Oh no.
On those sides as well. So, how, or where begin?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. You do so many things.
I do quite a lot of things.
You do a lot of
I have a
things.
lot of fingers
In
a lot of pies, but not very deep in all the pies, just because the
Sort of-
pie's quite hot.
I like
So I'm
pies.
like, oh, pie.
Pie.
But I'm keeping my finger on the pie.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So where did it start? What came first for you? Do you was improv first, or was there stage stuff first, or was there?
I started off as an actor.
Right.
Which I think was always what I wanted to be. I think I didn't really admit it to myself for a very long time because I thought being an actor was something unachievable or something that you had to be really exceptionally gifted at, or something that wasn't very realistic. Like I would never be hired, I would never get a job, and so I didn't really let myself fully entertain the idea of it. And then eventually, I think it was my dad that sort of, I was coming out of a conference, or one of those Excel, Earl's Court jobs fairs, careers fairs for jobs what you can do with an English literature degree.
Oh, right.
Which is everything and nothing at the same time. And I had a call from my dad, and he was like, I thought you wanted to go to drama school. I thought this is what you wanted to do. And somehow having that permission
Yes.
to do it was like, oh yeah, that was the plan. Of course, that was the plan.
Yes.
And so I started out as an actor and loved it and enjoyed working with scripts. I did a lot of improv without really realising it as well. I think improv's quite broad, and often we think of it as what we see on stage at the Miller or somewhere, in a show format, but actually anything where you're reacting in the moment or making a decision about how to do something.
Yes.
I think I was doing a lot of that without knowing it.
Yes.
And I really loved being an actor, but I found it very difficult to be relying on other people for work and
Right.
waiting for the phone to ring. I mean, classic actor stuff. Feeling quite unfulfilled because I was going to an audition. I went to the audition for do you remember the John Lewis advert where there was a little girl and she grew into an old lady?
Right.
And I got to a room and there were literally 40 people that looked identical to me, but also then 40 children that looked just like me as a child, and 40 old ladies that looked like what I would look like when I was in my 70s, and I could see my life there through all of these women. And I just remember sitting in this casting room and oh my goodness, how do you stand out?
Yes.
And how do you endure? And I guess at that point I wasn't necessarily very resilient to rejection. I still find it really hard. I'm still really stubborn. I'm like, well, why don't you like me? I'm all right. I'm okay. So I ended up branching out and leaving acting a little bit. Acting in the sense of having an agent and going for auditions and waiting for the phone to ring. And I ended up. I sort of chanced, I followed someone along to an audition for an improv show, not expecting to get the part, not really knowing very much about it, just pootling along, and ended up getting the part in this show. And kind of, I think doing an improv show actually taught me more about acting than I had learnt at drama school.
Wow.
And I was learning from some really, really top-class improvisers. It was directed by Stuart McCure, and Rachel Paris was in it, Rob Broderick, Ben van der Velde, Charlie, Partridge, and just really amazing guys who I was just learning off of by being near them. Yeah. And still today when I teach improv to other people or when I use improv skills, I'm drawing on what they taught me.
Yeah.
So I started doing improv there, and I think I've sort of yo-yoed in and out of improv. I do lots of it, and then I'll have a break.
Yeah.
And then it will take a little while for me to get my confidence back up to do it again.
Right, yes.
Because I think it is a muscle.
Yes, it is, yes.
And if you don't use it,
yes,
it goes all flabby,
yes,
like all the other muscles in the human body. Not in mine. I am lean and taut and athletic.
Yes, exactly.
So I think I've sort of jumped in and out. I'm doing more improv than I have done for a while at the moment, which is nice. Yes. It's really nice to be back in the improv shoe.
Yes, the improv shoe.
As it were. Only one. A single shoe.
What's in the other shoe?
The other shoe... oh, man, I wish I'd said shoes now. The other shoe is filled with... I want to make a bad pun about my soul, because it's a shoe, and the shoes have a soul.
I think you're allowed 3 puns per
man,
podcast.
have I wasted one?
I'll let you off that. Okay. I haven't told you the rules. You can't always pun your way out of trouble, though. That's
No, I know. I'm a glutton for punishment. I used that one yesterday. That's just fresh in my mind. I'm sorry.
So what improv are you doing at the moment, then, you say?
So I was in Edinburgh over the summer, and I was having a crep, as you do in Edinburgh, from one of the lovely crep vans. And I was talking to a comedian called Sarah Donald, and she was saying, I never get to do any improv. I really miss doing it. And it was the eve of my birthday, so I was feeling very seize the day and very, this is the year of Fran. Literally was what I was saying. And so she was saying I don't do a lot of improv, and I was saying, well, I'll go to a class now and then, but I haven't performed, and actually I've kind of lost my nerve. I'm just
going to dub in a helicopter now, because I think this is getting...
Cover, drop and roll, it's a helicopter.
Fran's just got up to speed with her story. Let's try and disrupt her flow.
And this is coming to you live from the helicopter pad. Where was I?
You were having a crepe in Edinburgh.
Crepe?
Is that not how you say it?
Crepe.
I'm just really worried about
pancake.
Yeah, there was a French pancake involved. Just really worried there.
I was having the really thin pancake.
Yeah, I think they're quite unsatisfying. I mean, they're nice, but they're too thin.
It's true.
And it was going to be the year of Fran.
It was the year of Fran, and so Sarah was saying...
So another helicopter that you
Oh
just
my
got too flow again.
I promise you, this story is so worth it.
It's good. We're building up suspense. Okay, I'll... The year of Fran.
The year of Fran.
I just enjoy saying the year of Fran.
So you're in it right now.
I'm in the year of Fran.
Yeah.
Aren't we all, in a way, living the year of Fran?
Guys, it's mine.
Well, obviously
Back off away from my year.
We just want to live in it. We don't want to own
Yeah,
it.
I just want to stand at the edges of it.
Peer in through the windows.
Oh, it looks nice. Look at this. Oh, now there are some children. It's a bit like a piece of installation art, this, isn't it?
So I'm hoping an ex-partner of mine will come and sit opposite me and
Yes.
we'll be awkward.
That would be amazing.
Would be amazing also.
I would commentate the whole way through.
It's unlikely. Anyway.
And
year of
so,
Fran. Yes.
she was saying I want to do some improv, and I was saying I want to do some improv, and within the next 2 minutes we'd booked in our first improv gig for the new year, because the year of Fran is all about saying yes to things that really, really frighten you, and just being like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, of course I will. Yeah. Like, for example, like doing this podcast is actually quite a scary thing. Yeah. Although it's, lovely and you're not scary at all. The idea of sitting and, you're terrifying, I'm really threatened.
I'm like Parkinson.
He bought me a cup of tea. It's really nice.
I'm like Parkinson, but much less sexist.
Good, that's a good thing.
Yes, no, I think so.
Oh no, I lost my train of thought again.
Sorry, year of Fran, doing things that scare you.
Yeah, so it's all about saying yes and then kind of thinking about the consequences afterwards.
Jump and then justify.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I went part-time at work to spend more time doing creative stuff. I'm making lots of videos, just writing all the time. And so this all started on the eve of my birthday, booking in this first improv gig with my now improv partner, we're called Norman. And it's great. Sarah's great. It's just fun. It's just silly. We don't really know what we are yet. We know that we don't have a set format. We just like big silly characters and not taking ourselves too seriously. And I think, to be honest, we'll find who we are on stage, which is nice.
Yes.
Rather than going, I really want to do a piece of long form where at 7-minute junctions we will ring a bell and an audience member will tell us a fact about their history, and we will incorporate that into a song.
No offence to all our fans of that format.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. I love that kind of improv. No, I do. I really do. But I don't have a thing that I know. This is definitely what I want this to be, because I think for both of us it was just important that we started improvising again.
Yes.
Put on the improv shoe. Maybe she has my other improv shoe.
Oh, nice. Yeah. One shoe.
I've got one shoe and she's got the other shoe. Yeah. And together we have a pair of shoes and one muddy foot.
Each.
Yeah. Which seems apt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what does the muddy foot represent?
Oh, wow. I mean, don't we all have a muddy foot in some ways.
Yeah.
We all have one foot securely in our Clark's brogue and one foot in the mud of life.
Yeah. So
the primal.
The unconscious.
Oh, man. I definitely saw another bit of rain.
Every time I mention... Yes, the unconscious. Well,
no, we're good.
We're good. We might just go and stand under that arch.
Yeah, that's barely an arch. That's not a roof.
That's not a roof. Well, as we said before the podcast started, we're both artists. You're mainly an artist. Podcaster, operating on a budget.
It's true. We tried an alleyway first of all.
Which I was too... I felt that would be inappropriate.
I'm gritty.
If Fran suggests it, then I'm cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Come to prep. It's good. It's good. Ready.
I'm classy.
That's what it means.
I'm classy. What can I say?
Yeah.
So, how many shows have you done as Norman?
No, maybe like 4. I think we're on our 4th. Which is nice. It's just experimenting. I think we've had gigs where we've come off stage and gone, we've really got something.
Yes.
We've got a really nice connection. We don't really know what it is yet.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
Yes.
It's just playful and silly, and we don't take ourselves too seriously at all.
Cool. But you rely on the sort of shared bond that you have between you two.
Yeah, I think we're both having a year of Fran, but hers is called Year of Sarah, probably.
What's that all
Brackets,
about?
Fran. I think we're both having. I think we both got to a point where we're like, okay, we liked what we did, but we want to do more, and we want to make sure that we're doing what makes us happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we should all have a year of Fran.
So, yeah.
I think we should all have a year of Fran.
I think, the year, it's a nice mindset to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really scary because you are all the time just being like, yes, oh God, what have I said yes to? What have I said yes to?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just trained whenever I'm around improvisers to say yes, so that's been fun so far. You just have to trust the people you're with that they're not going to suggest. Yes.
In France, do improvisers say oui et?
Je ne sais pas.
Do they? Oh.
But I will ask.
If you have any fans that are French, perhaps they could
write in on a postcard.
on a postcard to the podcast.
They can send me a postcard. So there's Norman.
Yes.
But that's not the only thing you're involved in, is it?
No, because that wouldn't, there's more hours in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
You
can't always be falling asleep to the sounds of Mark and I's voices.
No, you can't, which is a shame. I'm also in a sketch group called Kitten Killers, and that's been going for about 2.5 years now. I'd never done any sketch writing before. I'd done a lot of playwriting and serious drama writing.
Which we'll come to in a minute. I'll come to that in a minute. Put a pin in that.
It was so many pies.
So many fingers.
So we've done 2 Edinburghs now. And very excitingly just got our first run at the Soho Theatre in March, which is incredibly exciting. That was the dream.
Yes.
And now it's really nice. It's been I guess we found out a couple of weeks back. If we're in January now, we found back probably about a month and a half ago now. And we didn't really want to tell anyone until we knew it was definite.
Yes.
And we had a contract. And it was so hard not saying anything. And people would say, "Oh, I'm really sorry I missed your show. Is there going to be another chance to say it?" And I'd say no with my mouth, but yes with my eyes. And I don't know how good my eye acting is. It's hard just to blink excessively at them. Morse code, please come to Soho.
Come to Soho. It's an interesting message in itself.
Yeah, but that's really exciting, and it feels like hard work and commitment, because the girls who I'm in the group with, Perdita Stott, who's an incredible writer and a wonderful performer, and Kat Cade, who comes from a stand-up background and is just hilarious and beautiful. We've worked so hard on this, creating these shows. We rehearse really hard, and we write really hard, and we gig really hard, and it's been exhausting. But this feels like, okay, this is what it's about. This feels really nice.
Yes.
They're great. That's great.
So how did you meet them?
I met them. We actually did a course together, a sketch writing course at the Soho Theatre.
Brilliant. So it's all come full circle.
It has all come full circle. And I'd actually just been dumped.
I'm just looking sad for the listeners at home.
Stuart looks...
He's crying.
How could that happen? I don't know. It's because I only wear one shoe, I think. Feral Fran.
Some people...
Oh, you're a Fran. She's so self-centred. What about me? There was no room for anyone else, Stuart. No room. I got dumped by letter.
Oh.
By post.
Oh.
No, but I love it as a story now.
Yes.
I love it. It's a do you know what? It's a good story. I'll tell you the story.
I'd love to hear the story.
Because I was very much missing performing at that point. So I was very much missing performing. I would go and see friends in plays and be really happy for them, but really sad inside because I really...
that mixture of emotions that all artists feel.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm really glad you're doing this, but mainly I'm really sad that I'm not.
Yeah, and I wasn't at that point. I wasn't performing, and my boyfriend at the time was very much he loved teaching, and he loved the fact that it meant he could go on long holidays and he could eat lots of nice foods and live a life of kind of no worries and day-to-day enjoyment, which I liked the idea of for a while.
Sounds amazing.
It sounds good, but
It sounds unlikely, but it sounds good.
well, he was very good at living it.
Brilliant.
And I enjoyed it, but I just missed performing, and I think he could see that I missed performing, and I think he had an awareness that over time I might end up resenting him.
Right.
Because whilst it's wonderful to go to Sicily for your summer break, there would be a part of me that's like, I want to be in Edinburgh. I want to be writing a show. I want to be performing, which sounds awful. It sounds very.
That's me shaking my head. I don't think that sounds awful.
No. I think it was a bit of a fork in the road, and I realised that I could have this really happy life of I could probably buy a house, and I could have some pot plants, and I could invite friends around to drink like not the cheapest wine, not the second cheapest wine, like maybe the third cheapest wine. And I could buy a coffee and not feel like, oh, this is extravagant. Or I could start performing and write and really commit myself and be selfish. I think inevitably I had to become a little bit selfish.
Right.
And so in this, now I can look back on it and go, gosh, he actually did a really nice thing in this letter, because he was effectively realising that I was never going to be happy with a life of fine foods and wine.
Yes.
And so in the wake of that, in my moment of, oh my goodness, I've been dumped, I don't know what I'm teaching, and I don't know what direction I'm going in, who am I found this course at the Soho Theatre and massively threw myself into it. It's run by Griffiths, who he's in Late Night Gimp Fight sketch group, and he liked the things I was writing. So really encouraged me in that, which was brilliant to hear that someone said, oh yeah, your stuff you're writing it's quite funny, I like it, and that was nice. And then I remember getting an email from Perdita, who's in the sketch group with me, saying, hey, I was thinking of flinging together this sketch group, are you interested? And I said yes, and I think at the time I never could have known that we were going to be here now, 2.5 years later, about to do a Soho run. I never foresaw that at all. I think we get on really well, but we've gotten to know each other through being in the sketch group. We didn't know each other to begin with, and that's been lovely. We learn what makes each other laugh. We all bring different skills to the group. I think we got something quite special. It's really, really nice. But yeah, we work really hard.
Brilliant. Because I want to ask you about that, because I find sketch writing a mysterious and arcane art. Mm-hmm. And I'm really hoping you can just explain it to me, and that would be brilliant, because then I'll understand. So I'd be interested to know what your process of sketch writing is, because the idea of, I can kind of understand improv because you're sort of making it up, I sort of understand that, but
how do you create a sketch? You must make it up, but then something must happen after making it up.
Yeah, I think everyone has different processes. Lots of people go from improv into sketch, which I haven't learned how to do yet.
Right.
Because I think the thing I love about improv is the fact that it's there in the moment and then kind of gone.
Yes.
I love that. I haven't managed to work out how to harness that into a sketch yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's my next step. I'll try work that out too. We can work that out together.
If I find out, I will let you know.
Please do. It'd be really useful.
Yeah.
For me, it's never really the same twice.
Which is awkward because it's harder to replicate.
No, right? And I'll go for ages and not have any inspiration. I do most of my writing on the tube.
Nice.
My notes section of my iPhone is full of one-liners that I'll then go back and look at and be like, what do I mean?
This is brilliant. We need to see the process.
You might have to
I feel like
keep talking while I find them.
I feel this is proper comedian stuff. I feel like
I'm really terrible.
No. But this is what the other Stuart, as I call him, would do.
Yes.
Because there's obviously a lot of rivalry between the Stuarts.
I think
between
so.
Stuart Goldsmith and me and Stuart Lee, Stuart McConey.
Let's have a look. So I'm in the notes section. There are 193.
Brilliant. Yeah, give us an example.
So,
how would you work on it?
No, but this is the thing. So I write them down, and then I don't really know what I mean by them when I go back to them. So, so this one was it's about rolling cigarettes. I was in class. One of them read the stage direction. She begins to roll, as in roll a cigarette. But she didn't know that it was rolling a cigarette, so she just dropped and started rolling on the ground. We were all just looking and going, what's this? I wrote that down because I just thought it was hilarious. I promise I won't use that.
Well, okay. But so if you were going to try, because I thought that was really funny, obviously. But how would you then take that? It's
just silly, right? It's just great and silly. So how would I do? How would you
then turn that into a sketch if you were going to turn it into a sketch?
Well, I mean, it's.
Because I think that's funny, right? And I'm thinking about it. I'm still finding it funny, but
good. Okay, that's the title of my next year's show. It's called Rolling with Fran.
Rolling with Fran. That sounds amazing. But but what I'm worried about is, okay, so I found an idea funny.
Yes.
And so I've made a note on my phone. But then how do you know if it stays funny when you turn it into a sketch? How do you bottle that magic?
How do you bottle the magic? So I would probably then write a first draft of that as an idea. So this is off the top of my head.
Yeah,
so I don't know what you'd like. You'd take that misunderstanding and put that into a situation where that misunderstanding could happen.
Yes.
It's probably not a long sketch. If anything, it's probably a segue between sketches.
Right.
Where you've done a sketch, you're talking to the audience, someone drops and rolls, and you're like, what are you doing? So just rolling. Oh, no, I mean, that doesn't work. But you know what I mean. Where did you? So can you roll? And then I don't know, like two teenagers rolling a cigarettes, or
You see, I find you telling me about this really funny, but I'm not sure how.
Often, if I'm not sure, I often try and write it into a song.
Nice.
So I take. Is it keep rolling, and then I go, okay, that's got the word rolling in it. Let's see some people rolling cigarettes, but then misunderstanding and just rolling. I think the key to it is embarrassment, right?
Right. Okay.
I think that's you have to find what it sounds so wanky.
No, this is what we love.
What's the heart of that sketch? Why is that funny? It's because it's embarrassing, right?
Right. Yes.
And so you've got to, whatever it is, heighten that embarrassment.
Right.
Find a way to make. This is why I don't run courses.
No, it's good. It's good.
You've got to find a way to amplify that embarrassment.
So it's embarrassment for the character you're playing rather than for the person playing it.
either.
Okay.
I think the more uncomfortable you are doing something, the funnier it is. Audiences love watching someone squirm. I mean, it's a terrible joke, rolling and rolling. Like, it's terrible. There's no cleverness in it at all. So you've got to embrace that.
Right.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
But there's just some helicopter. Can you believe that I told you the secret to writing a sketch whilst that helicopter was going over and the listeners
I
missed
tell
it?
you what, I heard it, but I don't think it was picked up by the recording. So
Was that helpful? I don't necessarily know that I have a formula. What happens often is I'll write a draft of a sketch and then I'll take it to Kat and Perdita. I'm terrible at writing punchlines, the ends of sketches. I never know. I can write a setup and I can write the middle, but I never know how to end.
Right.
So most of my written sketches end with the sentence, maybe, question mark, possibly, or then he could do this, or maybe actually he could do this. I don't know. You sort it out. So, yeah, I think what's nice about working in a group is actually they have skills where I don't have skills,
Right,
and
yes.
maybe vice versa. I
Yes,
don't know.
definitely.
And so I can bring them a problem and they can fix it.
Yes.
How do you solve a problem like Francis's sketches?
You just fix it.
Just roll,
Just
apparently.
roll.
So yeah, there are formulas, and I have been to sketch writing classes, and I have learnt about, you start with the setup, and then you have the first inciting incident, and then you escalate once, and then you escalate twice, and then you break the pattern, and then you reset the circumstances. And I'm really glad that I learnt those things. And if you're looking at a sketch and going, why isn't this working? It is really useful to go back to things like that. I'm a big believer in courses, and I love a book
Yes.
that tells me how to do things.
Yes.
But actually, there's nothing like instinct on it, and I think after a while you learn the beats.
Yes.
And you go, okay, I think this sketch is a rule of three sketch, or this sketch is a pull back and reveal sketch, and
And then I got off the bus.
Yeah, exactly. If in doubt, add a bus. I'm still learning. I'm still very much learning with sketches. I like songs because songs have a structure, and you can go in and work. Okay, I know I need to set it up in the first verse, and then I can have a really funny chorus, and then I need to amplify it and it's hard because I think if you think too much about it, you kind of lose your sense of humour about it, and that's important.
Yes.
Sometimes I take comedy too seriously.
Right, yes.
Which is good, but dangerous.
Yes.
Because you can knock all the fun out of it. So, for example, there have been times where I've written a second draft of a sketch. So I'll have brought a sketch to the table, and the other two will say, yeah, there's something in this, write a second draft. And I will have overthought it, overcomplicated it, and they will say, look, it's kind of lost the magic of the first
Right, yes.
draft because you've formalised it, or you've really thought about where things need to go. So I think a lot of it comes down to just feeling.
Yes.
Which is hard because you can't teach feeling. You just
Yes. But you can't replicate feeling.
no. But I think that's good because otherwise you end up writing very samey sketches or very samey
Right,
jokes.
yes.
If you go too much formula.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I wing it. I wing it most of the time.
So how much stuff do you bring along to the others, and how much makes it through? What's your how much work do you have to put in to get a sketch to the level you can perform it?
I think we probably produce together about 3 hours of new material to make it through to 1 hour.
Right.
Last year, our show Worth We did a new material night in January, which did you come and see that? Yeah, you were there. So I reckon half of that ended up in the final show. And then we did more new material nights throughout the year. So I think, for me, my hit rate is probably 1 in 4.
Right. Wow.
I don't think rolling is going to make it to Kitten Killers 2016.
Oh, damn, because that Limp Bizkit material, it's so current, it's so edgy.
Man.
The kids are just really going to dig
there
that.
There are loads of jokes we could go with Limp Bizkit, and I would love to do like a kind of rock, like soft rock sketch. That'd be fun.
Yes, I'd love to see your soft rock sketch.
Yes, yeah. So I don't know is that. I should write more, probably. I think I write. I'm not very good at editing, and I'm not very good at the second and third draft stage. I'm very good at throwing something down on paper. We have a Google Drive that we put all our stuff up into.
Brilliant.
So I'm very good at just shoving stuff up.
Yeah.
And then not so good at the next stages.
But then, you've got other people in the group that, if you've got a first draft to work with, that's, you're not working from nothing. You've got,
Yeah.
So, when you meet, is there a kind of a way in which the rehearsals or, meetings, do you all bring along what you've written and then show each other, or do you read it out? Or
yes, we do. So
are there glasses of wine involved?
We have a cup of tea.
That sounds nice.
And then we chat about our day. And then Padita is a very good cook, so she makes the most wonderful food for us. And then we'll chat about our day some more. And then we'll get to, it's about 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And we'll go, we should probably read some sketches, shouldn't we? And then we'll go, no, my sketches are so terrible. No, we shouldn't. No, don't look at them. No. Oh, okay. Oh, look, I just looked at just this one. Okay. And sometimes when we're super organised, we'll print them all out and we'll read through them.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, we're learning more and more as a group that we're learning to fail more.
Right.
So knowing that things don't have to be perfect.
Right.
And taking what we like from an idea. So okay, fine, we've set this rolling sketch in a hospital. Why are you rolling in a hospital? I don't know. I'm on the floor. I haven't thought this through. And then we go, do you know what? I love the idea, but the hospital isn't working. Okay, so let's take the rolling, which is the idea that we love,
which is the comedy gold.
And let's set it in a rolling pin factory. Maybe. And then, so not abandoning it just because it doesn't work first time.
Right.
We're getting, and actually, the more we relax on stage, I think the more funny we are. I think we've become more personable on stage.
Right.
I think maybe we used to worry about getting everything right, and this dance move must be, our heads must turn at exactly a 45-degree angle, and we blink on the third beat of the music. But now we know that the audience will be on side with us if we are more relaxed.
Yes. The audience isn't worrying about you so much.
Well, they're laughing at us, laughing at ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, we shouldn't be having more fun than the audience is. There's a balance. Which is a delicate one. And I think we've probably all had gigs where that's been the case, where we've had more fun than the audience have had. That's comedy. It's nice. I think we are learning all the time, which is how it should be.
It's supposed to be, yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before about not waiting for the phone to ring, for
Yeah.
jobs to come through.
Yes.
So one of the ways in which you're doing this is your internet videos.
Yes. Yeah. So this was something that I just did for myself. Filmed in my bedroom. Wasn't really planning on showing anyone. I was just wanting to learn how to use a camera, have a go at doing some character comedy. And so I started off with Fran's beauty blog, which is a sort of teenage version of me, and the trial, because I'd seen some of these video bloggers, vlogs, online, and the amount of views that they were getting, and the celebrity state. No, I wasn't chasing the celebrity status,
no.
but I was blown away by this thing that didn't exist when I was a teenager.
No, definitely.
And then, I know some very successful video bloggers, and they're wonderful people, but it's a world that I'd never known before.
Yes, definitely. Well, I didn't know about it. I watched your video and I thought, this is funny. I'm enjoying this because it, even if you don't know about that thing, you know, we've all been teenagers, we've all been unsure about things, so I could enjoy it on that. But then I realised, oh, this is the thing.
Yeah,
this is the thing that goes on.
How amazing! Because I think it's, you know, I doubt there's a person alive that had an adolescence that wasn't filled with some kind of angst.
Yeah.
And I guess for every generation, there's somewhere to throw that angst. You know, whether it's into a poem that I wrote, and you know, or I formed a band and we wrote an album called "I Hate A-Levels and No One Likes Me." You know, so but for this generation, YouTube is there, and it's just a receptacle for all of these teenagers, and it's brilliant and strange and wonderful. And so I took that idea of the character, in hindsight, I wish I hadn't called her Fran. I wish because she isn't really me at all.
Is she not really you at all?
I mean, it is me. I'm playing the part.
Yes. But is it not really you?
It comes from elements of me. Elements of me.
Because I was hoping to... No, that sounds weird.
Well, luckily, she's just standing over here. Brought along.
You're pretty nice, but I'd like the teenage version of you. That sounds wrong in this day and age.
So, I started with her, and I just, make silly videos. I try to keep them to 2 minutes. That's my rule, because I think that's a good attention span.
Yes.
I don't really know how to get people to watch them. I don't really understand the YouTube analytics or anything like that. But I think it's a really good discipline to say I will upload one of these every Friday at 2:00. Forever. But actually, the moment that I said I will do this every Friday at 2:00 publicly, I have not managed to do it. It's been a busy 2 weeks, but that is my intention, and I'm about to start a new series.
Talk to that about in a second. Can we just talk about Fran's beauty blog? So,
of course.
I'm interested in the sort of the process of that, and how do you go about? Talk us through each stage in sort of very great detail.
Okay, very very great detail. Lots of detail or excellent detail?
Excellent detail.
Okay, great detail.
I see. Much and also of high quality.
Okay, so I had a week off. I had a half term, and I decided I wasn't going to go anywhere for this half-term holiday. I was going to make stuff for the entire holiday, and I set up a camera in my bedroom. I don't have a tripod, so I pile books on top of each other, and I sellotape everything together. It's all very homemade. And to begin with, I just sat in front of the camera and improvised.
Really?
And I would leave the camera running, and maybe for like 30-40 minutes, and sometimes I'd forget it was running and I'd start texting or doing other stuff. I haven't got a lot of laptop space left anymore. There's no memory left, and And then I would watch the edit back and I would cut out the bits that I liked and I'd go, okay, these jokes work. Now I can structure around that.
Yes.
So it starts from nowhere, and then from the bits that I like, I then go back and build.
Oh, wow.
And as it's gone on, I do write them more and improvise them less. I think that's just because of time. I think.
Right. Yes.
I guess I write them, I perform them, I do my own lighting. Sometimes I get my dad to hold something. And I edit them myself, and I mean, I think it's probably quite clear from looking at them that I do all this stuff myself.
And it really isn't. It really isn't. No, it genuinely isn't.
That's very lovely of you to say. From my perspective, they look very homemade, which I like. I think that is very.
Well, but that's also
style.
Authentic for.
Which is, it's lucky. It's
well,
also very lucky.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But it looks like it. It looks realistic. It looks genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Authentic is what I mean. Yes.
Yeah, no, I really like the look of them. I am very proud of my beauty blog. I think they're silly and fun, and I guess I found a sort of longing in that character. She's kind of lonely but very unaware of her loneliness,
yes.
and I think that's the fun of her.
Yes.
So as I've gone on, I've written them more, but I don't ever write the jokes down on paper.
Right.
I'll write structure.
Oh, right, that's interesting. So what would it's hard to imagine, but what might that structure look like?
So it might be like, okay, opening. I will introduce the theme, and then I'll have a cutaway shot here to Fran prancing in the back garden, and then I'll go back into the main body of it, and I know that I'll have a rule of 3 joke here where I do 3 little.
Yeah.
It's more like shot by shot,
right.
Which is something that I've learnt to do through doing it.
Yes.
And realised that actually for this video project, just having me talking to the camera wasn't quite enough. It needed to have shots away to other things.
Yes.
And it needed a bit more, so it's got opening credits and then credits, and it all looks very, very homemade. But it's more the beats of it than the actual jokes.
Oh, that's interesting. So once you've got the structure in place, you can improvise, or you can just try.
And I find often that I will throw the plan away.
Right. Yes.
So I will have the plan, and then I'll start filming, and then I'll cut those little bits of footage out, and I'll put them into iMovie, and I'll go, okay, I've got those bits. Those bits are quite funny, but what's the best story to tell those jokes in?
Right. Yes.
So sometimes it starts with the structure, and then I fill in the jokes, and sometimes it starts with a joke, and I fill out the structure. I think sometimes the first way is better, because often I'll hold on to a joke, even though it doesn't necessarily fit.
Yes, just because
but it's really funny.
Yes.
And this voice in the back of my head goes, Fran, you're going to make more videos. Put it in your next video.
Save it for later.
And I'm like, no, this joke about Fuseli is hilarious. I'll forget about it by next week. But I think it's just good for discipline and knowing that I will definitely write 2 minutes of content a week.
Yes, having that sort of deadline is great, because otherwise it's really easy to do.
And I think that was the whole thing that I hated about waiting for the phone to ring. While I wait for the phone to ring, I can make a video.
Yes, and because we live in this day and age, you are then able, first of all, you're able to make the video, and then able to share it online and get your comedy out there. Exactly. Brilliant. I feel that we should probably finish on some inspirational message.
Oh no, an inspirational message.
In the year of Fran, from our beloved leader, Fran.
What kind of inspirational message would you like?
Just encouragement. I don't know. What have you?
So the
what
most
have you
important...
learned on the journey?
Okay. Well, we in my sketch group we have some rules of thumb.
Love some rules of thumb.
And the main, and people said this to me at drama school. People said this beyond, and most people do this. But the main thing is just don't be a dick. We use a stronger word.
Yes, no, that's fair enough.
Our first rule of thumb is don't be a stronger word than that word.
Yes.
Because although often I look at people that are doing really well but don't treat people nicely.
Yes.
And I think that's a real shame because I think how are you doing well when you're being like this? But I think eventually people will twig and they won't want to work with you. And so for me, that's the main rule that I live by in life and creatively, I guess, is just be decent, be on time, help people out if someone needs something. If someone says, "Can you read my script?" Don't say yes and then don't do it. Say yes to things, but only if you can do them.
Yes.
And just be pleasant. That's genuinely. I mean, some people say it from a very career-minded place. So you should be nice to everyone because the person that's cleaning the windows in the morning might actually be the director of the play, and he's just saving money because he likes to clean his own windows, which is true. But I think it's broader than that. I think it's wider than that. I think just be fun to work with, be good to work with, and people will want to work with you.
Brilliant. That's exactly the sort of inspirational message I was hoping for.
Good. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. I think that's good advice for life.
Yeah. It's all right.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I made this.
Guess what? It's call for action time. I don't know what it is. I just find this really hard. Anyway, your call to action this week is to follow Fran on Twitter. She is at Fran Bush, and you can check out her website, which is franbush.com, and or check out kittenkillerscomedy.com, and they are on Twitter at kittenkillers. Oh, that went all right, didn't it?
That's improv!